And the loudest scream that happens mostly on a set is when some kind soul is saying, "Quiet!" Why are you shouting, but? Quiet should be done.
When people consciously create chaos for like particularly chaotic films,
I really don't know all how it works. When I make a chaotic film, देख लेंगे तबल चेन, bend my rules और बोलेंगे let's make some noise, आवाज करो सब लोग, chaotic film है. Godfather. Any problem, go to Godfather. It's a very cleverly written story about a family. एक भाई जो हीरो है लेकिन वो फैमिली बिजनेस में शामिल नहीं होना चाहता है, लेकिन एक ट्रेजेडी की वजह से वो शामिल भी हो गया और करप्ट भी हो गया. So you turn on and say, यार करप्ट मत हो जाए यार, तू हीरो है.
Which are some of the masala films that
Amar Akbar Anthony. वो तो मैं देखते रहता हूँ. The whole opening sequence, Amar, Akbar and Anthony are all three called simultaneously to donate blood. A lot of people say that's ridiculous, right? How is this possible? Magic over logic. This is Amar, Akbar, Anthony. That's Mother India, and her blood is lifeline. If there's some logic that is missing somewhere, I don't care. People clapped. Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor. Little kinky for my liking. वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा mental हो जाता है. Social Network has a great title sequence.
I to watch the first 10 minutes of Social Network.
वो लोग क्या बकबक कर रहा है? Aaron Sorkin बोलता, you're not supposed to really understand. It's just this geek. Like just now you're sounding like two geeks between you and.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Audible presents The Longest Interview. Today's episode is a very special episode for me. आज का मेरा episode है बमन ईरानी सर के साथ. He is a person that I deeply admire. मैं इनको सालों से चलचित्र टॉक्स पे लाना चाहता था. And it finally happened. बमन सर को आप as an actor तो जानते ही हैं. He has given some of the finest performances in Bollywood. But बमन ईरानी की एक साइड के बारे में आप लोगों को शायद इतना ना पता हो. He is also a writer and a director, and he is making his directorial debut with the film Mehta Boys very soon. In fact, Boman sir has been taking screenwriting classes for people all over the India, for any person who wants to join in, and it's for free. His screenwriting initiative is called Spiral Bound. So हमने writing के बारे में बहुत सारी बातें की, हमने acting के बारे में बहुत सारी बातें की, and he gave some amazing recommendations. So let's jump right inside the conversation I had with Boman Irani sir. Hi Boman sir, how are you? Welcome to Chalchitra Talks.
Hi Vaibhav, thanks for having me. Really nice to be here after we met in Chandigarh.
Yes, I was wanting to start the conversation with आज Kishan Khurana and Munjal साथ में because I never see Munjals on camera. मैंने कभी फिल्मों में सुना नहीं कि मुंजाल के कैरेक्टर हैं, तो मैं इतना खुश हुआ था. अरे मुंजाल है एक फिल्म.
के खोसला साहब के बेटे हैं मुंजाल, खुराना साहब ने भेजा है. चलिए आपके पापा को छुड़ाते हैं, आइए.
Oh, Munjal is such a good actor actually. Yeah, he was, you know, in a quiet, but now he's doing more and more work and doing very well for himself.
Sir, आज I want to geek out on films with you. Let's go deep into the journey of films.
You got the wrong guy.
No. And I want to start with asking about your first movie watching memory.
So that was from my mother's womb. So I think I started watching movies at a very young age. There was no television back in the day. तो सिनेमा में लॉरेल एंड हार्डी से शुरुआत हुई थी. हमारे घर के सामने there was a cinema called Alexander Cinema. वहाँ पे Alexander Cinema में मॉर्निंग शो बहुत ही सस्ते टिकट्स रहते थे. Around ₹75 पर टिकट. So the whole compound, सब बच्चे जाते थे एक साथ. My mother used to buy a whole bunch of tickets. सब लोगों को भेजते सामने. Sunday morning show, it's like a television basically. और वहाँ लॉरेल एंड हार्डी देख के बहुत खुश होते थे, सब चिल्लाते थे. फिर धीरे धीरे मुझे वो जगह इतनी पसंद आने लगी कि तो मैं स्कूल के बस से उतरता था और सीधे अलेक्जेंडर में जाता था पहले, और पोस्टर्स देख के आता था. नेक्स्ट वीक कौन से आने, विच मूवीज गोइंग टू बी रिलीज नेक्स्ट, कमिंग सून, नेक्स्ट अट्रैक्शन, कमिंग ऑन फ्राइडे. ओके, फिर घर पे जाता था, फिर नाम का होमवर्क कर लेता था, और फिर लेट शो होता था. मतलब लेट शो वुड बी 10 o'clock, पर उसके पहले 6:45 का शो होता था, तो व्हेन इट बिकम्स डार्क क्रिकेट विकेट खेल लिए, गेम्स खेल लिए, फिर जाके पिक्चर देख लेते थे हर रोज. सो द एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ गोइंग टू द मूवीज वाज अलेक्जेंडर सिनेमा में तरह तरह के पिक्चर थे. देयर वुड बी इंग्लिश फिल्म्स, देयर वुड बी हिंदी फिल्म्स, देयर वुड बी कोंकणी फिल्म्स, और वो भी देखते थे. एंड देयर वुड बी साउथ इंडियन फिल्म्स आल्सो, वो भी देखते थे. मतलब एवरी सिंगल थिंग दैट केम इन टू अलेक्जेंडर हम देख लेते थे. तो उसके साथ साथ एक्शन फिल्म्स, वेस्टर्न्स, हॉरर फिल्म्स, हैमर फिल्म्स जो कहते थे. हैमर वाज अ कंपनी, ब्रिटिश कंपनी दैट मेड हॉरर फिल्म्स. सब. एंड माय मदर नेवर सेड नो, कि मत जाओ, मत देखो, ये डर लग जाएगा. हम लोग जाते थे साथ में, कभी अकेले चले जाता था. But movies was our staple diet. Today, kids spend too much screen time.
Yeah.
On a tablet, but they are flipping away things that might be a little more cerebral, and watch that is a little more inane. हमको inane देखने को भी मिलता था, cerebral देखने को मिलता था, classics देखने मिलते थे, cartoons भी देखने मिलते थे, सब देखते थे. एक बड़ा YouTube का घर था, वो था अलेक्जेंडर सिनेमा.
And was there a particular film that made you fall in love with cinema?
जब छोटे थे तो the movies that we were exposed to a lot were musicals. So of course there were some great Hindi films. Mummy was very fond of Guru Dutt Saab. So she encouraged me to watch all Guru Dutt Saab's films. Bimal Roy films, fun films also. Lekin musicals, Oliver, My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, then I'm missing out on a very important musical, Oliver, based on Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist. It won the Oscar for Best Film and lots of other things. So those songs, those picturizations really caught my Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
So Singing in the Rain became a very, very important film in my life. And even today, we'll talk about Spiral Bound, I'm sure, as we go ahead. Yeah. Singing in the Rain, kabhi I showed segments of that. Not because it's got anything to do with song and dance, has got anything with writing per se. Of course it has, you know what I mean. But the hard work that went behind every single dance number, and the rehearsals that must have gone into, and I would recommend youngsters who want to be motivated, go and watch this clip of Make 'Em Laugh. There's a song called Make 'Em Laugh.
Okay.
I'm saying laugh like an American because that's the lyrics of Make 'Em Laugh, Make 'Em Laugh. It's a song by and danced by Donald O'Connor. It is the birth of the talkie. The Gene Kelly character saying, क्या करेंगे, हमारे तो साइलेंट मूवी की दुनिया तो खत्म हो जाएगी यहीं पे, तो करेंगे क्या? तो he's saying we'll have to come up with something, make him laugh, हंसाओ पब्लिक को, और थिएटर में लोग आएंगे देखने को.
Short people have long faces, and long people have short faces. Big people have little humor, and little people have no humor at all.
And he does one whole number from the piano. In 3 or 4 cuts, the whole song is picturized. And I was telling the students the other day, how much of rehearsal must have gone into that. We have lost that riyaz and rehearsal ka jo purity to put what looks like a stage performance. वो तो है नहीं आजकल. Because you take it in cuts, your camera swings. But I would recommend that as a lesson in dedication, that particular song. So musicals, yes, lots of musicals.
I want to establish it for the viewers about Spiral Bound. Like बहुत लोगों को बमन सर के बारे में ये बात नहीं पता होगी that he is taking a lot of screenwriting lessons under the initiative of Spiral Bound. And his film Mehta Boys is also coming out very soon, his debut film as a filmmaker.
Right.
And मेरे को इस जर्नी के बारे में भी आपसे डिटेल में बात करनी है, स्क्रीन राइटिंग एंड फिल्म मेकिंग के बारे में. एंड व्हेन डिड योर लव फॉर स्क्रीन राइटिंग एग्जैक्टली स्टार्ट?
आई थिंक बचपन से. हाँ, मैं लिखते रहता था, मोनोलॉग लिख देता, एक सीन लिखता था, ऐसे लिखता. फिर बहुत सारे फिल्मों में when I have worked on films and it may not have worked, so that's why don't you just fix it. So I would come up with certain ideas. Yesterday I was with Raju at a symposium, and he was talking about the improvisation that I did during Munna Bhai, the Asthana thing, the ye haath nahi.
This was improvised?
Yeah, it was improvised, but it was improvised in rehearsal.
इस हाथ को देखो, रॉक स्टेडी. हजारों ऑपरेशन किए इन हाथों ने, लेकिन ये हाथ कभी नहीं कांपे. लेकिन अगर मैं मेरी बेटी का ऑपरेशन करूं तो ये हाथ जरूर कांपेंगे.
And he was so taken up by it, and we included it in the film. So I was always fascinated by screenwriting. Also, I used to read a lot of screenplays. Billy Wilder, I.A.L. Diamond, all of them, William Goldman, these are all heroes. Robert Benton, heroes of screenwriting. Joseph Mankiewicz, great screenwriters. So when the time came to make my own film, I said, directors visualize, they talk of the dramatic moments, they try to capture it through camera, actors will act, but you can't do anything if your screenplay is not in place.
True.
Word to word. And I wrote a draft, and I may have written scenes, but to graph an entire film is not easy. So then I started learning, then I started reading, then I started doing workshops, then I met a friend, Alex, as I mentioned to you earlier, Alex Dinelaris, who guided me through the writing and then collaborated with me on a full scale for the Mehta Boys. What have I learned over the years? And primarily, most of what I learned comes from my guru, my mentor, Alex Dinelaris. I had that, whatever the little knowledge, or rather all of Alex's knowledge with me. I thought it would be nice to share. It would be nice to put it out there so people don't struggle. Because people who write, young writers who write, struggle, after working hard to sell the script, and then people tear it to bits and then don't pay great. So it'll become a community of youngsters, oldsters like me, who understand the power that a writer has actually.
Yeah.
Because it is, if it's not through his 120 odd pages, that everything will spring out of. Billy Wilder had said, the great Billy Wilder, that what does a director direct out of? The greatest of directors. You can't open a telephone directory and direct out of it. You need a solid screenplay. You might have a great story. You might have a great narration, but you got to suss it out for 2 hours. And for that you need craft. For that there's a science that's involved. So I share that, and we now a huge community of writers. We've finished about 705 sessions, maybe more, an hour and a half each.
Wow.
In the last 3.5 odd years. I'm extremely proud of the way the writers have picked up our writing, made careers, and that gives me great joy. And it's free. You don't have to worry about anything.
One of your students, Indol, is also a part of our team, and he gave me a task. Vaibhav, I want you to watch this Peter Sellers scene, and you have to tell me about the action, the reversal, the conflict.
Right.
So, and I was so amazed, you go so deep into it, and it was beautiful to know about that.
The Peter Sellers scene is a part of a film called The Party. And there are many great screenwriters, people who teach screenwriting say, you write a screenplay like you're writing a joke. There's a structure to a joke. There's a setup, then there's a confusion and a conflict, and then there's a punchline. So your script should be like that, every scene should be like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be funny, but structurally that's how it works. What we tend to do while we're doing screenwriting is tell the story, ye hua, फिर उसके बाद ये हुआ, फिर जाके लड़की के बाप को जाके मिलता है, फिर वो होता है, फिर जाके बोलता है मैं जाके नौकरी करूंगा. It becomes a sequence of events. I think there's nothing wrong in that because that is the basis of your story, but there is much more to it than that. There has to be drama. Without drama and without conflict, the story is pointless moving along because you're saying iske baad ye hua or nothing more. You're just telling me what happened next. And that's not good enough. Drama comes through conflict. Conflict comes through somebody going through something because of that sequence of events. The sequence of events is not as important as what happens to a person who's experienced that sequence of events. It's about human beings at the end of the day.
So what do you think of the slice of life movies where there is just walking and talking, the before sunrise, before sunset? What?
Nothing wrong with that either. It's difficult to pull off. Now, you might pull it off. How many films like that have actually worked? But sometimes when you miss the bus on the slice of life film, which I have no problem with, and believe me, they can be very boring. If you've not hit some chord somewhere, if you miss that, here, if your structure is right, and when I'm talking about structure, I'm talking about people who have analyzed structure from the Grecian times, from Greek plays, कि ये play hit क्यों था, ये play flop क्यों था, ये play इतने shows क्यों किए और ये play खुलते ही बंद क्यों हो गई थी. And Aristotle did a study of that to understand why certain plays are hits. They follow a certain structure, which today Hollywood follows to this day from what they learned from Greek theatre. So obviously there is one paradigm that is working. However, one red flag for all those people who feel that they've got structure in place, it doesn't mean you have a great film. You just got the structure right. So people say, I understood structure. ये है inciting incident, ये है end of act 1, इसके बाद ये एक turn, flash point आता है, उसके बाद mid point आता है, उसके well, you can get that right and still have a terrible movie. Because there are so many other moving parts in a film, which include what is the story actually about? What is the story? Whose story is it? What does he want? What will happen if he doesn't get what he wants? What are the stakes? Is there a time limit to how he has to achieve what he wants? He cannot take forever, right? Plus, is there something that touches me as a non-participant to the story? When people turn around and say, I feel for this guy because probably this is my story. You're going to somehow make it an everyman story. You understand? So that comes through theme. There are motives, there are wants, there are needs. There's so many things that you need to pay attention to make a compelling story, to write a compelling. It's not easy. You can have it all right and still get a bad picture.
I have a friend and a mentor. His name is Devashish Makhija, national award-winning filmmaker. अभी उन्होंने मनोज बाजपेयी के साथ जोरम बनाई थी. Right. So he says, हम हिंदुस्तानियों की प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमें थर्ड एक्ट लिखने नहीं आते हैं. कोई भी पिक्चर उठाओ, mostly we screw it up in the third act. So what's your opinion?
I kind of agree with him, but I have another take on it. He's absolutely right. The third act is not good because your first act is not good. And all your third act problems are in your first act. So you are feeding your third act from the moment you start the first act. You can create a great opening, you can have a धुआंधार opening. बोले यार ये होता है, फिर ये होता है, फिर एक यहाँ पे bomb रहता है और वहाँ जाके वो he comes running out and he diffuses the bomb and I remember that's our hero. फिर एक antagonist का opening scene है. ये villain है, अरे उसके den में जाके ऐसे बात किया है सब. क्या मुंह तोड़ जवाब दे दिया उसने. फिर उसका ये गांव है, उसका घर है, उसका माहौल, उसका वर्ल्ड है, ये वर्ल्ड क्रिएट कर लिया. फिर थोड़े एक्शन सीक्वेंस हो गए, लेकिन थर्ड एक्ट के लिए कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट ही नहीं था. सो व्हाट ही सेइंग इज वी डोंट नो हाउ टू राइट अ थर्ड एक्ट बिकॉज वी डू नॉट राइट एक्ट 1 व्हिच कैन बी फैंटास्टिक बट हैज टू बी ऑल पेइंग ऑफ इन एक्ट 3. सो ऑल योर थर्ड एक्ट प्रॉब्लम्स आर इन एक्ट 1.
एंड for the viewers, अगर उनको 3 act structure के बारे में ज़्यादा information नहीं है, which is the simplest film they can watch to understand, oh, this gets the 3-act structure right?
Oh, there are so many films. In fact, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
But which one would you go for as an example? You can refer to this to refer to the 3-act structure.
Silence of the Lambs. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Godfather. Any problem, go to Godfather. Because it's so, and it's thematically strong. और लोग बोलते हैं थीम मतलब थोड़ा ज़्यादा ओवरडोज नहीं है थीम के बारे में बात कर रहे हो नहीं थीम इज़ वेरी यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई इट अदरवाइज व्हाई डू आई केयर विद वन माफिया गाय इसके लिए अनदर माफिया गाय मुझे क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है हाँ अच्छा है बट व्हाई विल आई स्टार्ट केयरिंग थीम कम्स इनटू प्ले दैट यू नो it's a family at the end of the day. It's a very cleverly written story about a family. There's a hierarchy. ये बाप है, ये माँ है, उसकी बहन है, उसकी शादी होती है, एक लड़का जो उसको मारते रहता है, एक भाई जो संकी है और दूसरा भाई हीरो है लेकिन वो फैमिली बिजनेस में शामिल नहीं होना चाहता है लेकिन एक ट्रेजेडी की वजह से वो शामिल भी हो गया और करप्ट भी हो गया. So you turn on and say, यार तू करप्ट मत हो जाए यार तू हीरो है यू आर अ वेटरन बैजेस है तुम्हारे तू मत फंस बाप भी बोलता है यार उसको क्यों इन्वॉल्व किया एंड द ट्रेजेडी ऑफ द स्टोरी इन्वॉल्व्स एवरीबॉडी बिकॉज इट बिकम्स अ स्टोरी अबाउट अ फैमिली रादर देन अ स्टोरी ऑफ अ माफिया फैमिली वो तो एक जरिया है कहानी ये बात बताने के लिए सो या गॉडफादर इज अ ग्रेट आइडिया.
Which is, sorry if I may ask, which is your favorite scene from Godfather 1 or 2?
When Don Corleone wakes up when he comes home from the hospital and he asks, क्या क्या हो रहा है मेरे गैर हाजिरी में और वो कहता है सनी इसे फिर इसको मारा फिर उसने इसको मारा ये हिट हो गया. बाप को ये सब जानना नहीं बाप को जानना है जो मैं जिक्र कर रहा हूँ माइकल कहाँ है. तो कान में बोलता माइकल ने इनकाउंटर किया उनको इनके साथ और वो मन नहीं he says no not Michael. And he has a tear in his eye because he knows that he's the good guy in the family. उसको corrupt क्यों किया? So that's my favorite moment in the film. It stops being a mafia film. It's a film about a father caring about his son.
One of my favorite scenes come from Godfather 2 where Michael kisses his brother on the lips, the kiss of death.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
I know it was you, Fredo.
That's in 2.
Yeah, 2.
That's in 2.
Godfather 2. I know it was you, Fredo.
Right,
you broke
right.
my heart.
Yeah. Wow, there's so many scenes.
Yeah.
So many scenes. Even the last moment on Michael's, when he tells his wife, you know, did you kill your brother-in-law? वो झूठ बोलता है. No, that never talk about the family business ever again. But this once, you're allowed.
This one time. This one time I'll let you ask me about my affairs.
So she asked, did you kill your brother? He said, no. And then they shut the door on her face.
Yeah.
Khatam ho gayi. One of the great endings, one of the great beginning. So Godfather is a great script for youngsters to read. If you read a script, you'll know how to write one. You know, you may read 500 books about script writing, but eventually the technique comes and jumps off from the page when you see a script mein ye likha tha, or see how it was converted, page to screen. वो study कर सकते हैं.
I had this thing written on my bulletin board. When in doubt, watch Social Network.
Also great. Also great. Aaron Sorkin, one of the modern greats. Aaron Sorkin का भी तरीका बहुत कमाल का है. Today we were talking about it in class. वो कहता है कि I bow at the altar of intention and obstacle.
Intention and obstacle. That's what you've got to cling to. Somebody wants something standing in their way of getting it.
Yes, yes.
So what he means by that is कि कोई भी कैरेक्टर को एक इंटेंशन दे दो और उसके सामने एक hurdle खड़ा करना. जैसे film keeps moving further, make the intentions bigger with greater stakes, the hurdles become higher and more difficult to jump over. It's a very basic principle, but people don't follow that. They're only telling us events. फिर ये हुआ. No, create the hurdle. And when you create the hurdle, you'll create the conflict. It's very easy to speak, but these principles should be imprinted or become part of your DNA.
I saw his masterclass where he talked about this thing. I'll pakka say it wrongly. Probable, plausible. Do you remember
Yes,
this?
but I'm also going to say it wrongly.
Possible, possibility, and कि दोनों में से एक चीज होनी चाहिए.
Yes.
Yeah.
What Aaron Sorkin is one of those modern greats who believe in dialogue also. I feel that cinema should have less dialogue because it's a visual medium, but Aaron Sorkin loves his dialogue. And nothing wrong with it because he does it so beautifully. And he when he writes a draft and he does a rewrite, he does not mark out which parts of the screenplay needs corrections. वो तो करने ही.
हाँ.
मतलब ये पेज पे मुझे डाउट लग रहा है, थोड़ा मोटा लग रहा है ये सीन, उसको कट कर सकते हैं, इकोनोमाइज कर सकते हैं, वो सब तो ठीक है. लेकिन जब वो सेकंड ड्राफ्ट लिखते हैं तो ही डज नॉट cut paste the first draft and put it on the second draft. He rewrites the whole thing physically, which means that while you're writing it, you'll understand idhar bhi gadbad hai aur yahan pe bhi gadbad hai. The big gadbad he already has made notes of. But when you're rewriting it, even if it is perfect, rewrite it. You'll find something which will cut cow. And that is what Aaron Sorkin does.
He also says this one thing, he's like, it doesn't make any sense, but odd numbers make more sense than even numbers when you are writing.
It does make sense. It does make sense. So what we talk of in class is the rule of 3, which is an odd number, obviously. And you can't have, even when you tell a joke, you have one गलत फहमी, फिर उसके बाद पंचलाइन नहीं आ सकता. एक गलत फहमी, दूसरी गलत फहमी, और फिर पंचलाइन आता है हमेशा. It always works in the rule of 3.
Yeah.
Always. So he's absolutely right. I mean, who am I to say Aaron Sorkin is right or wrong?
Apart from Social Network, which are some of his other works that you enjoy?
A Few Good Men. Amazing, amazing. Misery.
Misery.
Amazing, amazing. I think Aaron Sorkin is that clean storytelling writer who uses technique to the core. Very, very clean. If you see A Few Good Men, it is amazingly crafted. It's about not about who will win the case. It's about what happens to the protagonist if he wins or loses the case. It's not कि किसी को justice मिला या नहीं justice मिला. It's about what does he go through as a human being living in the shadow of his father. तो वो सब ये जो details होते हैं ना while writing are very, very important.
Do courtroom dramas fascinate you?
Very much. Very much. Strangely, whatever you're talking about today was discussed today only.
Oh.
So one of my favorite courtroom dramas. Yeah, there's a beautiful film for film geeks which I can recommend. It's an Agatha Christie play and directed by the one and only Billy Wilder, one of the great writers. In a top 10 list of directors, Billy Wilder will be there. In a top 10 list of writers also, Billy Wilder will be there. And he has done this movie called Witness for the Prosecution. It's a black and white film with Tyrone Power, the great Charles Lawton, amazing British actor, and Marlene Dietrich, the German actress. And it's a courtroom drama of suspense. My favorite courtroom drama is a film called The Verdict. So my favorite director is another guy called Sidney Lumet. So Sidney Lumet directed this film and it's written by one of the great screenwriters called David Mamet. And David Mamet wrote this film about The Verdict. called The Verdict. It's about a case of a bungle that happened because of the hospital that was treating the patient, and the patient died. And the hospital has the best lawyers. And here we have a drunkard lawyer, played by the beautiful Paul Newman. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we don't care whether, I mean, of course we care. It's not कि justice मिला कि नहीं. Of course मिलेगा. What is it that the main character, the protagonist, how does it change him? How does he become probably a better human being? Sometimes the character does not need to change. But sometimes, most of the time, characters change for the better. The ones that don't change and become worse, those are called tragedies. And even if there is not a single laugh in the film, if the character changes for the better, it's called a comedy. So, yeah, The Verdict is a film I'd recommend. David Mamet's beautiful, beautiful piece of work. वो भी it's worth studying that script also. And a movie, great movie.
Which is your favorite Hitchcock film?
Psycho. I'd seen it when I was very young at the Alexander Cinema. And for some strange reason, I did get scared, but I didn't get spooked. I was nervous while watching the film because the cinema is so beautiful. The writing is so great. The cinema is so beautiful. But Alfred Hitchcock का तो मतलब कोई भी ले लो. The last two films are okay, but that should not diminish from his great work.
Have you seen Rope?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
supposed to be one shot.
Yeah.
No, it's not. They like Birdman. Yeah. But yeah, Rope. I like Rear Window very much.
Yeah.
I'd seen it as a young boy. Rear Window's opening sequence is fantastic. Today you look at it, it might not be as, but it's a study again. It's a study of how you can shoot an entire film with one vantage point from one rear window and one telephoto lens. वो बैठ के दूसरे के कमरे में क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं. Vertigo. बहुत टाइम लगा समझने में कि क्या हो. North by Northwest. Yeah. Amazing Ernst Lehman's script. वो crop duster का जो sequence है वो देखने लायक. It's a study for any director, any writer. How do you write an action sequence? It's not that they just got together with a stunt director and said ऐसे करेंगे वैसे करेंगे. You write the action sequence. This is where the plane will come from. This is the style of road. This is the crops. This is how it will come for the first pass. It will come for the second pass. Literally, the camera angles are kind of pre-decided.
Sir, मेरे को एक question पूछना है. Why I have not understood it fully until now. Why is the psycho bathroom scene a classic? What am I missing? मेरे को समझ नहीं आता कि.
You don't like it?
I love it, but I don't understand. What am I missing? कि academically, why is it such a great scene?
All right. So I'm going to make an attempt to convince you why it is so great. First of all, the biggest star in the film, and the only star in the film, is Janet Leigh. Marion Crane. She's your star. She's not going to die halfway through the film. So number one, it's a shocker. So you said, she's been stabbed already? Number one. Number two, we're talking about a boy who's so disturbed and has this mama complex that he has. And from the shadows comes out this woman in long hair with a knife. Mama is mean. Mama is vicious, right? So it's a bit of a shock, but we built her up.
Yeah.
3. I'm not good with numbers, but there are God knows how many, close to 55 cuts every single time.
Yeah.
All right. Every single cut, and you never see the knife hit the body. Yeah. So your imagination is going wild. It's and that horrifying music. Everything is coming together, and by the time you know it, you start coming to terms that, oh no, she is dying and she's going to be dead, and the heroine of the film is dead halfway through. And then afterwards, of course, they have
The drain shot.
the drain
also.
shot turns into the eye, and it's like cinema at its best. Every single frame in that film, in that sequence, I don't know the number of cuts because I'm not good with numbers. I have a number problem, as I told you before. Works like magic. The sound, I don't know whether they stuck something into a sack of rice, and the music. Who's the music director here? Bernard Herrmann. Bernard Herrmann. That music, everybody uses it, parodies that music. It's become legendary. But it is the thing that he was not afraid to kill his only star in the film. Anthony Perkins was unheard of. Nobody knew Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins उसके बाद कुछ किया भी नहीं life में. Norman Bates का role. So, what's happening here? And it's the edit that does the trick. Because you want, is she, ding, ding, chak, chuk, chuk, gone. And the curtain coming down. I mean, it's... Did you get scared? No.
So apologies for this, but the first time when I saw the मेरे को थोड़ा सा कॉमिकल लगा था, मतलब
मैं आपका इंटरव्यू नहीं कर सकता हूँ. हाँ जी, एल्फ्रेड अंकल, हिचकॉक साहब आए, बताओ यार इनको. कॉमिकल लगा. या तो वो, या तो यू मस्ट बी सम
नहीं
क्लोजेट मर्डरर, ऐसा लगता है.
But the other part I didn't consider, the script part of it. Ki you weren't expecting that they'll kill the main character.
Marion Crane is dead. She's run away with the money and you've gone and killed her. And who? One lady killed her. Which we know will come out later. And this made out the mom, my mother's like this and my mother's like that, and suddenly the mother. Oh.
Have you seen like good thriller films in India?
Back in the day, I think Vijay Anand used to make some great thrillers, great fun. Dhun was a good thriller. If you remember Dhun, B.R. Chopra Saab's was a great thriller. It was Danny Saab, Zinat Aman, Sanjay Khan, and of late, Andhadhun was pretty good. Yeah, Andhadhun was pretty good. I love his work. I love the man. I love his work. But we can do with some more thrillers, no? Don't you think?
Absolutely.
We can do with a few more.
We were talking about thrillers, so I'm reminded of that Nolan short film, Doodleberg.
Right.
Yeah, it can also be considered a thriller, right?
Yeah. I would call Memento also a thriller only. Insomnia is also a thriller only. In that sense, Inception is also a thriller only at the end of the day. Won't they achieve what they want to get? It's as simple as that.
Which is your favorite Nolan film?
I would like to say Inception. And I like The Dark Knight also, what he did with The Dark Knight, which we call, superhero film. But he treated it, again, about very differently than what we've seen Batman or any other superhero film. It was very well treated, very, very differently.
Who are your favorite actors?
All right. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy is an outstanding actor. He won 2 Academy Awards, back to back. Captain's Courageous, you must watch. He plays a character called Manuel, a fisherman. He used to do a lot of film with Katharine Hepburn. Great actor. If you had seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Stanley Kramer film. He was the judge in a beautiful film which I recommend again. It's called Judgment at Nuremberg. It is the trials that took place against the judges in Nazi Germany during pre-war and war, and the International Court set up a series of cases against the judges for passing inhumane laws. And Spencer Tracy was the lead judge in that. He's an amazing, amazing actor. He was, you know, like his counterpart in India would be Balraj Sahni. You know, it was not affected, it was natural, it was humane, it was real, guys. So for me, Balraj Sahni, Spencer Tracy. I fell in love with when I watched one of the most influential films in my lifetime. A film that I stepped out of the theater and went and watched it again. I went and sat in the car park with my hand in my head in my hands, like, what the hell did I just see? And I was shaken up by that film's beauty, performance, storytelling. Was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I've had the privilege of meeting the director and the producer, and I had a conversation with them at a film festival many years ago. And Jack Nicholson just took my breath away. And what is this guy all about? So Jack Nicholson does it for me. I also, for some strange reason, people do not consider him as a great actor, but I think he's a great actor. It just so happened that he's so handsome and he's so beautiful to look at that it diminishes his acting quality, and that is Paul Newman. I think Paul Newman is an actor I look out for. He's in The Verdict. Please watch that film. He's Butch Cassidy in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He plays the Hustler. Then he did the a sequel to that with Tom Cruise. He won Best Actor for that, though it wasn't his best work. And Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, beautiful play that was made into a movie. And what is the other great Paul Newman performance? Anyway, Paul Newman, I love. Yeah. Of course, we have the De Niros, and of course, we have the Pacinos, and I love them dearly. Love them dearly. They have influenced generations.
Yeah.
But I also care a lot for actors who go unsung many times. Who go unsung. I think Dustin Hoffman is a wonderful actor. Yeah. Alan Arkin, who just died, is a wonderful actor. His last performance was in that serial about the acting teacher. Kaun sa tha wo? The Kaminsky method. He's the friend who has prostate cancer. He's such a good actor. And they go unnoticed, but he's done some wonderful comedy, and he's just an amazing actor called Alan Arkin. He won an Oscar for Argo. He must have been nominated half a dozen times. Who else as actors? Meryl Streep, of course. Let's not discount Meryl Streep's being the most celebrated of them all. Who else? Who are your favorite actors?
One person who has the Paul Newman problem, so good looking that we overlook the good acting, but I think is Brad Pitt.
He does, but yeah, he does.
Brad Pitt is...
Leonardo DiCaprio also, I think, puts in very spirited. I find him monotonous.
I did this segment with Manoj Bajpayee sir in the episode. Ki sir, I don't understand why Leonardo DiCaprio is such a great actor, because I don't, as compared to the others of the lot, मेरे को नहीं समझ आता.
No, so what did he have to say?
He tries too hard.
So that's what, he does spirited performances. He does spirit, and he puts his 128%. But sometimes, no, you should put in 60. You don't have to, your eyes should not be on fire 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But who am I to talk? He's a great actor.
One of my favorites is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Lovely actor.
Yeah.
Unbelievable actor. You know, he played a young schoolboy. I don't know if you've seen him as a young schoolboy in a film called The Scent of a Woman.
Oh, I have seen
You've
Scent
seen
of
the
a
film?
Woman.
So there's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
And there is Chris O'Donnell, who plays Robin as Batman. He's the kid.
Yeah.
And there's Philip Seymour Hoffman as one of the the entitled rich boys. And he's superb. With that small thing, he's just superb. He's an amazing actor. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor. Little kinky for my liking. वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा mental हो जाता है. ज़्यादा ही mental हो जाता है. But yeah, come on. Eventually, I'm concerned with what I see on screen.
Yeah.
So if you say that, because he's the Joker, and he was superb in her. He was superb in her. And he was superb in Gladiator also. Underplayed, nice, little crazy, but not like Joker. Joker ke liye he'll be remembered, and of course, the master, which he did with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Both of them were in top form in that film.
And what do you think of Daniel Day-Lewis?
I छोटे मुंह बड़ी बात, but Daniel Day-Lewis is just one of the greatest that ever lived. My only thing is. I'm not sure I feel for his characters as much as I admire his performance.
Such a great line, yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something. But the time I really felt for him was in There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
I drink your milkshake. That sequence.
I abandoned my child.
Yeah. Okay.
Say it louder. I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
But again, it's like sometimes, you feel for you've seen Taxi Driver, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt for Robert De Niro. He's he doesn't know. He doesn't know what to do with a sophisticated girl. He takes her to see one of those odd-looking movies, and he's saying he doesn't realize that he's not cut out for that kind of society.
There are other places I can take you. Plenty of other movies I can take you to. I don't know much about them, but I can take you other places.
It's so beautiful. His performance in that film. People only think of you're talking to me. उसके आगे कोई बात ही नहीं करता. You're talking to me के अलावा. But the pathetic performance that he puts in, I really love one of my great performances. Great performances. Name one more of your favorite. Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the greatest.
One of the actors I am most excited about is Jeremy Strong, Succession.
Yeah, he'll make a name for himself. Unless he already has, of course, but not in the legend category. Not in the legend category. One great performance, which I think has made a mark. He won Best Supporting Actor in The Fighter. He's the brother who goes to jail, and the brother is, this fighter who he needs guidance, and he has to bring his stupid bum brother out to help him win. And in the credit title sequence, he's sitting and watching the video with his brother on television. People are talking. I don't know whether, and he's looking at his brother, and the joy and pride on his face is something to behold. It's something to behold. I mean, I would ask all young actors to just say without a word. He's putting his hand around his brother. He's an idiot. He's a goof. But he's so proud of that moment. It's in the credit title sequence. Oh man. Again, he's a great actor.
And how much do you consume TV shows?
Not much. Okay. Not much. I like resolutions or open-ended resolutions, but to say come back because because of a cliffhanger, I feel a little. I don't have patience for that. But I watch some wonderful. Breaking Bad is amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. I like Family Man. It's amazing. I think Manoj Bajpayee just does it. He just does it. It's amazing the ease with which he makes you feel the whole theme of that film. He's dealing with his principal and teachers, and he's going and dealing with some nut job with a gun somewhere, and how he's balancing the two worlds, because it's just a job. We don't realize. We just look at characters like Family Man and not family, unlike family men say, oh, he's a crime fighter. Yeah, but he's also a family man. I think the concept of that is unbelievable. Raj and DK have done a great job with that, and Manoj is just outstanding in that.
The elegance with which he curses.
Yeah, everything is just spot on.
But like, have you seen Succession and Bear and all these shows?
I've seen very little of Succession. I don't like to get involved because I don't want to get hooked. I don't like getting hooked.
Yeah.
Then I think of nothing else except that thing from morning to night. Ghar pe jaake Succession dekh.
You know, I want to ask you that since you have made your first film as a director,
Right.
I asked it to all the people who come as on the show who are filmmakers.
Right.
What is that one thing you learned as a filmmaker on set? Like everyone has these rules. Greta Gerwig says when she's on set and she doesn't know what to do, she turns off all the lights and वो एक-एक करके चालू करती हैं. Zoe Akhtar says food makes people happy.
That's a nice one.
Varun Grover came on our show recently. He said, as a filmmaker, just wear comfortable clothes. That is his learning. So what is that one insight you got as a filmmaker?
Always make your characters, and that starts with the writing process. Put them in a place they least want to be, and give them something to achieve at the end of the scene, by the end of the scene, and mostly don't let them achieve it. Let your characters fail to achieve what their targets are. Because if you make life easy for the characters, I say, okay, he's managing. I'm not interested in the character. But as a director, I think you're asking, this becomes eventually a writing question. But writing and directing go hand in hand. Yeah. It is part of the storytelling process. But I loved what Zoya did. Zoya said, Varun said, wear comfortable clothes. Now, Varun is comfortable in his own skin to begin with. It's like I met him that day. I said, hi Varun, how are you? Singhade khate ho? It's so amazing to think how he constructed that little bit. Have you seen that bit about Singhade and
Yeah, I have.
आया मैं एयरपोर्ट पे धर लिया, उन्होंने बोला ये नहीं ले जा सकते. मैंने बोला सर ये तो सिंघाड़े हैं, आप जानते हो ये फ्रूट है. बोला ना, इसका ना छिलका बड़ा शार्प एजेस होते हैं थोड़े से, नॉट अलाउड, शार्प ऑब्जेक्ट्स नॉट अलाउड. मैंने बोला आप बताओ मैं कितना लगूंगा अगर मैंने सिंघाड़े से प्लेन हाईजैक कर लिया.
The way he's done it. Varun is very comfortable in the way he speaks. It's so comfortable. Yeah. I think the idea that to have your crew equal partners in many ways, to make them feel it's their film. Yeah. Everybody should have propriety. Of course, you will make the final decision. And if somebody comes and gives you an idea, don't say, don't disturb me right now. Listen to it. Don't be disturbed for the moment. Finish what you want to do and then just say, what were you saying about that? Okay, let's try it. Because film is a collaborative effort. And if you did not value that person's opinion, why did you hire that person? There is no point you hiring someone who will contribute without stepping in your creative space. And a good AD or a good, will know when to come and tell you something. Listen. Acting is also listening only. So direction should also be listening only. You have to listen. Of course you have. This is the shot I always dreamed of from the day I wrote it. And I've got the shot, the camera moves at this pace, ding, 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 it reveals this. You got it now. No harm in doing one more. So listen to people, make them feel it's their film, which it is. It is their film. Because most of the time what happens is, it is the actor who has, I have an idea. Yeah, sure. Why can't your DA have an idea? Why can't your second AD have an idea? Why can't, and of course your associate director must have an idea. Otherwise, why have you cast her as the associate director?
Yeah.
They are meant to tell you that. And then the unit should be happy. So the only thing one rule was made very clearly: you will not scream on the set. Nobody will scream on the set. And the loudest scream that happens mostly on a set is when some kind soul is saying, "Quiet!" Why are you shouting? But quiet should be done. Quiet. Because the moment you say quiet, everybody keep quiet, and then they start speaking as loud as the quiet that was yelled out.
Wow. Yeah.
And everybody is nervous because you say, now everybody quiet. No. If the planning is good, if the hierarchy is in place, if the chain of command is in place, why do we need to shout? I have a problem with noise. Your set is quite quiet. This is great.
This is such a great.
I don't like noise. And once the shot happens, crack a joke, tease somebody, have a good loud laugh. Quiet doesn't mean everyone have to be on there. वो भी नहीं पसंद मुझे. Be free to crack a joke at the end of it. Get the shot. Actors, give them their space. The DOP is a hero. He's a big actor. The sound person is a big actor. Everybody, the guy who takes the stills, इसका still चाहिए था. But when he asks for the still, people say, अभी नहीं बाद में चल, तू side पे हो जा. Why? The still photographer.
Yeah.
Everybody is there because they have a job to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned on a film.
Beautiful. You know, I was watching, I think, this Emily Blunt interview that Oppenheimer में हर set पे जाओ तो actors के नाम की chairs होती है.
Right.
Nolan didn't keep the chairs only for his actors.
बैठने का ही नहीं.
तो बीच का ही stool दिख गया तो बैठ गए, but he's like chairs ही नहीं रखता था.
नहीं वो तो पागलपन है.
Like when people consciously create chaos for like particularly chaotic films.
Right.
बहुत पढ़ा है मैंने इसके बारे में कि.
I really don't know all how it works. When I make a chaotic film, देख लेंगे तब I'll change, bend my rules और बोलेंगे let's make some noise. आवाज करो सब लोग chaotic film में. I don't know how that works. Anyway.
So I want to move to the other segment, but anything in regard to movies that you would also like want to talk about, anything that we.
Why? What is the other segment?
Books and music.
No, books mostly in the last God knows how many years. I've not read a novel. I've only read autobiographies and biographies and screenplays. And I read screenplays over and over again because that is the education that. But let's talk more about movies. No, it's so much fun.
Amazing.
Chalo na.
So let's go, John. I want to know about your favorite romantic films.
As good as it gets. As good as it gets, Casablanca and Roman Holiday. Roman Holiday, lovely story, made by one of the great epic directors who made this little romantic comedy in black and white in Rome. He made the biggest film of all time. It's called Ben-Hur. 11 Academy Awards. But before that, he made Roman Holiday. Best Years of Our Lives is another one that he had made. Post-war, Kya Hota Hai. But this film is just the most charming film you'll ever see. And the writer of that film, Dalton Trumbo, Mr. Breaking Bad, played Trumbo in the film Trumbo. He was nominated also. Could not go and receive his Academy Award because he was blacklisted. And then they gave it to him many years later. So it's a beautiful script. It's a sweet romantic film. Casablanca, considered one of the greatest films ever made. By Michael Curtiz. And then, of course, As Good As It Gets, James L. Brooks, who wrote and directed it. These are my three favorite romantic films. Romantic films and romantic comedies.
One of my favorite genres is dysfunctional relationships, like the Blue Valentines, Kramer, when people fall out of love with each other. Kramer versus Kramer, Marriage Story.
Kramer versus Kramer is also one of my favorite films. I used that as a great inspiration when I was writing my film.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was going to New York a few years ago, and Alex, who collaborated with me on the script, called and says, "When are you coming?" I said, "I'm coming on day after." He said, "Can you come tomorrow instead of day after?" I said, why? Saying, I'm going out for dinner with Robert Benton, who wrote and directed Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, wow.
And I know you love him very much, so it will be great to have. I didn't make it. I had to go the day after that. I had an interview with Vaibhav Munjal. I think that's why I cancelled. So Kramer versus Kramer. Dysfunctional, yeah. One of the other dysfunctional ones is Little Miss Sunshine. The entire family is dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And sitting in one van and driving from point A to point B, and they somehow find some peace with each other through one little kid who has some kink in her head about being a beauty queen.
Yeah. I read this line somewhere. If you think you are evolved, try having dinner with your family.
American Beauty has an intense dinner scene. I think a plate lands on the wall, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Let's bring in the laugh meter and see how loud it gets on that one. You know.
Okay, then what's the other genre? Let's talk about the other genre.
Okay, we have discussed horror. We have discussed psycho. Horror ho gaya. And which are the slice of life films that you enjoy?
I think Before Sunrise, a pretty cool movie, no?
I love it.
And slice of life is a very strange term. I'm not very fond of that term.
So, let's say Walking and Talking, or I don't know.
Yeah. There is a film, okay. There's a film called My Dinner with Andre. Now, it's amazing how two guys are sitting and talking about their whole life over. It's like Kunal Vijayekar doing his Khane Mein Kya Hai, and they're having this conversation, which becomes a whole movie. It's amazing.
Have you seen Coffee and Cigarettes, Jim Jarmusch?
No, I haven't seen.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'll tell you this beautiful film. This beautiful film with three wonderful actors. Jaideep Palawat. Yeah, think about it. You know, the three of them, Suanand, and of course, Shefali. I mean, how has that man just held you by a walk through a town and their memories? Think about it. कुछ होता नहीं, सब कुछ होता है, तुमको समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या है. And it's fine. If people don't want to be engaged in that film, I'll respect that. But you are engaged in some form or the other, and you see the characters. They're so humane and so real and so with so much humanity. It's so beautifully pulled off. I mean, really, hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off.
The last Ferris wheel scene where they're
पिछले हफ्ते जब मुंबई में थी ना, तो यहाँ आने की बहुत जल्दी थी. और जब से यहाँ आई हूँ, मुंबई की याद आ रही.
I don't know there is this exhaustion which Jaideep Palawat has on his face, which is very difficult to.
Last two flights I took, Jaideep Palawat was on those flights. and I when we were in Chandigarh, we were in Chandigarh together. You did a session with me on stage, similar to this, for an audience of for a couple of hundred people. And then 3 o'clock I did a screenwriting workshop. And Jaideep came along for that, and he sat for the whole 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and then just now back from Kolkata, he was on the flight. No, he was on the Delhi flight. Yeah, it's such a wonderful, gentle giant. He's such a wonderful actor. And the moment he sits down for the first time when they sit for a cup of tea, I like this character. I like the actor, but I like this character. How does he communicate it? No dialogues yet, and still, just a body language, and you're on with him.
Which are some of the masala films that
Amar Akbar Anthony. वो तो मैं देखते रहता हूँ कभी. Amar Akbar Anthony, my God, it's an amazing. I don't know if you can call it a masala film. I think masala film only. No?
Yeah.
You know, I saw it again in the theatre. They remastered it, and they had a festival of Mr. Bachchan's films. And it was showing at a mall in Kurla, and I ran off to see it with my family. And my boys are watching the film and saying, "My God, the public is still whistling. They're still whistling." भाई तूने 10 मारा, मैंने 1 मारा, लेकिन 1 मारा लेकिन solid मारा. Public is still going crazy.
Yeah.
And the whole opening sequence, which for a lot of people, there is Nirupa Roy was knocked on her head, right? And she needs blood. And Amar, Akbar and Anthony are all three called simultaneously to donate blood, right? So we have one blood going from Amar up to one master bottle, and Akbar is going to the master bottle, and Anthony's blood is going to the master bottle, and then it's going into Nirupa Roy. And a lot of people say, that's ridiculous, right? How is this possible? Magic over logic. Forget it. Just accept what Manmohan Desai Manji was trying to say.
Yeah.
This is Amar, Akbar, Anthony. That's Mother India. And her blood is lifeline of all of us. Simple. He's putting a point across. If there's some logic that is missing somewhere, I don't care. People clapped. He's not trying to do a film. It's about the medical profession where you do some unusual operation and then say, "ये तो होता नहीं, ये हुआ है, ये picture में हुआ है." Accept it, because the thought behind it is so beautiful.
One genre that I really enjoy is Boman Irani films.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Khosla Ka Ghosla is my, like, I have like a list of 5 favorite films from Bollywood of 21st century. It's among the
Khosla Ka
top.
Ghosla. So Divakar, well done. I had a small part to play in that. It was great fun. I enjoyed that. It was a delicious part to be part of.
Yeah.
It was a delicious role to do.
Which is your favorite Rajkumar Irani film?
Strangely, people go for Asthana and Munna Bhai MBBS and 3 Idiots. I go for Lage Raho Munna Bhai.
Wow, nice.
I think that is a film which is impossible to pull off. It's impossible. You have a cloud with Bapu's head and you have these guys, and how do you put across chemical locha to make them understand it's hallucinating and just kindness, and it can go so wrong. And the character I played, I enjoyed very much. It was pretty, again, a delicious character.
Absolutely.
It was a delicious character, which I enjoyed playing, the Sardar, which was great fun. But he's pulled that film off. And yeah, I enjoyed Munna Bhai also very, very much. Very, very much.
I am always fascinated by films or shows where the sequel or the second season is better than the first. Lage Raho is, or at least they stand to the level of the first one.
Right.
Shows में ये बहुत possible होता है. मैं shows
में possible होता है.
So
because in the first one you're finding your feet.
Yeah, and then second one you go all out, like, yeah, now I know what I'm doing.
A lot of people say that Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1. It's a great film. It could be a better film.
Yeah.
But I enjoy Godfather 1.
Do you enjoy like the gore films, like extreme?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Was there a time when you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed all kinds of films. I never discriminate. I don't discriminate. So, like Rambo, now it's become too much. Now, I mean, how many people are going to... How much brain does somebody have that flies in buckets all over the screen? Shooting people's brains off. It's too much. I can't handle it anymore. Rambo. Have you seen Rambo?
Yeah. But there are so many Rambos.
The first one.
Oh.
First Blood. A fantastic film. And it's not a gory film. But First Blood is an amazing, amazing film. It's thematically also very strong.
Which is your favorite James Bond movie?
I was a great Sean Connery fan. I enjoyed Roger Moore. Then George Lazenby was lazy as hell, right? Then who came along? Then Sean Connery came back, and then we had Timothy Dalton. He's not bad. I mean, people don't like him. I liked him. But for me, Casino Royale is my favorite film.
Oh, dude.
And as a script, which is again a great screenplay to read, to understand, is Skyfall. But Casino Royale has got everything going for it.
Yeah.
Everything going for it. Kadak.
The poker scene जहाँ पे Matt Mikkelsen के ऐसे खून निकलता है आँख से when he loses. Oh.
It's one of those. It's a great film. I enjoyed Skyfall also, by the way.
Skyfall has one of the most cinematic fight scenes. You know the sniper who has to go for the kill and the picture neon lights. I love that scene.
Though there are some openings I've seen of Roger Moore in Moonraker. Nobody's done it better. Somebody jumps out of and jumps out of a plane, and then he jumps in, then he takes his parachute, and he grapples with his parachute. Spy Who Loved Me, great opening sequence.
Do you enjoy title sequences?
Love.
Oh.
Love.
Do you have a memory of some title sequences that you have enjoyed over the years?
Generally.
Yeah.
Generally. I think Panic Room has a great title sequence.
The Fincher one?
Yeah. Then Alien has a great title sequence. Scariest movie you'll ever see. You have to see Alien.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott's. Great. I think even The Shining has a very scary title. And what's it? One car driving into the hills. Why am I getting scared?
Yeah.
Don't even ask me. I don't even want to analyze it. But I'm scared. Rosemary's Baby has a great title sequence. It's just city and romantic film fonts were used. Pink. Doesn't make sense, but it's amazingly done. Social Network has a great title sequence.
I too watched the first 10 minutes of Social Network.
वो लोग क्या बकबक कर रहा है? And Aaron Sorkin बोला, you're not supposed to really understand. It's just this geek. Like just now you're sounding like two geeks between you and this geek is telling one girl and he's trying to impress her. That's all you're supposed to know. And at the end of it, it turns out to be an a-hole. And she says the only reason why because you're a... She calls him an a-hole only, no?
Yeah.
You're gonna go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
That's all there is to it. And he gets offended and he takes that run and it kickstarts your story. And that run in his chappals, which he does, that boy is so wonderful in that role. In his flip-flops or whatever you call them. It's a great title sequence.
I love how they completed the a-hole arc in it. The movie starts with Erica saying to him, you'll go on in your life thinking people don't like you because you're a nerd, but it will be because you're an asshole.
Right.
And the film ends with, you're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying so hard
to be one. So, that's Aaron Sorkin. Sabka baap hai wo. So, another title sequence I liked was Butch Cassidy is a great title sequence. William Goldman is one of my favorite writers.
Okay.
Which is your favorite title sequence?
Mostly in shows. Like I really like in movies I like the title sequence of Seven.
Oh boy.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
The scratching sound and everything.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Fincher does good titles.
Yeah.
Fincher does good titles. Bond title sequences are very famous.
Yeah.
There's always a song and there's always silhouettes and background, and there was a guy called Maurice Binder who used to do those sequences, and it used to be very simple actually, but they're so effective. James Bond title sequences.
Do you have a fancy title sequence in your film? Is it very simplistic? How is it like?
I don't know how simple it is. It's subtle. There are strokes in there that I don't want to overload the audience with. But it's simple, but definitely there's a strong thought behind it. I would proudly say that. There's a strong thought behind its simplicity. Whatever that means, I try to.
Have you seen this SNL sketch which came out, which has Ryan Gosling in it?
No.
It is about a guy who is pissed because Avatar movie mein jo font use hua hai. It is papyrus, and the guy is so upset. James Cameron just used papyrus in a $1 billion film, and he's taking therapy. And I'm trying to go. I'll go and find the guy who used papyrus font. And then Avatar 2 comes. He's like, उसने सिर्फ bold करके लगा दिया papyrus को.
Amazing.
These are some rabbit holes I like going into. Which is a random question. Which is your favorite font?
Favorite font? Papyrus.
Yeah. And how much do you pay attention to the soundtracks and original scores.
My God, it's very, very important. It does become a character. In our film, I've used Gulraj Singh did the score. I don't like to call it background music.
So you call it background score?
Score, yeah.
Oh, just the score.
Background score. You're scoring it thematically. Each character has been given a theme music. There are themes. You don't just give music to fill up to enhance the drama, or for you to get tense, so you add tense music.
Yeah.
Or for you to feel a little emotional. Each character, the three main characters have been given three very distinct melodies and scores, and that theme keeps repeating itself in different moods as to how that person is feeling at that point of time. So a background score is very, very, very important. I've been moved over the years by some great background scores, and Gulraj has done the scoring for our film, and it's very beautiful. In fact, we have a song, the end credit titles, where it's a song, and it's a song that reflects the person's state of mind. But the bridge between the two verses, the musical bridge, is the score in a happier space. So this musical score becomes part of the song.
Do you like Hans Zimmer and like all these soundtracks? Do you have a favorite?
I like Hans Zimmer. I think he's great. He does some very unique things. He does some very unique things. Wasn't he the guy who did Dunkirk?
Dunkirk, I think so, yeah.
Hans Zimmer, yeah.
He hasn't done the recent one. Apart from that, he has done every Nolan.
So I think the recent one was done by a
Luco Ludwig Göransson.
Great. But I think Dunkirk was unusually good.
Why do I not remember Dunkirk ka?
Because it doesn't feel like music. He's used the sound of the drones of the plane and converted it into music.
Like the metronome, tuck, 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 tuck. Yes.
But for me, I think we feel he's overrated, but he's underrated. Is John Williams. So any of the greatest themes that you've ever hear is John Williams.
Yeah.
Right. One of my favorite themes is a film called Out of Africa by Maurice Jarre. It's just so beautiful. There's a whole sequence flying over Africa is the sequence, and you just have a plane and the two of them are holding hands in this biplane. You know, they're holding hands and just flying over beautiful Africa. When you hear the music, you actually feel you're gliding over those beautiful jungles. It is so beautiful. Maurice Jarre. I think he won an Oscar for that. I'm quite sure. And then, of course, any march or anthem is Jerry Goldsmith, and his Rocky work is amazing. The Rocky training music can be used, in any kind of training situation. Yeah. Also, he did The Right Stuff. Such wonderful musicians, and then Jaws is, I think, one of the greatest scores. So Steven Spielberg was very kicked that John Williams is going to do. So he said he played something for me. He said, "Wow, it's very nice." So when will the other instruments come in? So what are the instruments? That's it. I said, "What?" He said, "You want to scare people? That's the only sound that will be. That's it. That's it." These people, they compose knowing the theme of the film. That's why it's called theme music.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were going to ask me something.
No, it reminds me Birdman ka soundtrack, like Antonio Sanchez.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I think that film. Birdman, just the drummer.
Yeah, it's just the drummer.
Just the drummer, and from time to time you see him over there.
Yeah.
It just gives that film momentum because it doesn't need music. I think the music sometimes people use to fill up gaps. You don't need to in that film. The momentum is so strong. And the reason why they probably must have said, we need music for this kind of thing is because if you have to walk through a passage and you can't cut, how are you going to fill it up? But they let it silent, and once in a while they would have the drummer doing the work.
It means my reputation is riding on this, and that's worth a lot, exactly.
Birdman is one of my favorite films, modern films. It so happened that when I met Alex, and I said, Alex, which movies have you done? He said, I've done one film which I pulled my name out of. I was very unhappy with the way they changed my story. And the two was a film that I've done it's an art house film, he said, which will come and go, because it's an art house film. Who wants to see a single shot film about a guy who wants to make a play? It's backstage. The whole thing is wholly shot backstage. I said, "Theek hai," but I became his friend. He was a wonderful guy. He understood my story, and we said, let's try and do this together. And about a year later, he said, I'm going to make a tuxedo. I said, what for? He said, I'm going to the Golden Globes. I said, what for? He said, remember that art house film I was telling you about? I said, really? He says, yeah. And then he won. He won at Venice, then he won at Golden Globe, and he won the Oscar. And I called him up. I said, my God, I thought I've lost him as a friend, because success can do things to people, unthinkable things to people. Either you become unbearable or you become nicer. There are two things that success can do to you. And he just is the nicest guy in the world. I spoke to him last night too. And he wrote the film and he explained the whole film in a breakdown session. This scene is for this scene is for this, this is the action, here's the conflict, there's the reversal, and I teach it in class, thanks to all that he's taught me. So Birdman is one of my favorite films, which applies every single technique that Spiral Bound teaches.
Have you also got him in one of the Spiral Bound lectures?
Oh yeah. When we started Irani MovieTone and the inauguration happened, I wanted Mr. Bachchan to inaugurate it. So I said, Mr. B, tell us which date you're free from, tell us the time. So he said 10 o'clock. I said, how much time? I said, in 35 minutes, I'll put you in the car again. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay. Where? I said, right by your house. You need to be there. And then Alex flew down for it, for the inauguration. And instead of throwing a big party and calling the industry and saying Irani MovieTone launches it, the Irani family launches their production house, I said, let's do a long 6-7 hour workshop. I think that is far more productive, and we invited every single student from FTI or Whistling Woods or St. Xavier's Academy, the Academy of Xavier's Institute of, every single student, and many of them have now become Spiral Bounders. Come directors, writers, come one, come all, and attend the workshop. So they had started making, that time it was new, QR codes. So QR codes, and I said, don't waste money on this. Why? I said, people will gate crash. I said, let them gate crash. If they've come to sit for 7 hours to listen to a screenwriter, they deserve to gate crash.
Wow.
There's no point in saying you can't come in. Come, man. And that's the whole principle of Spiral Bound. How do I join? Are there fees? No. Do I have to write 10 pages and show you whether I can write or not? No. Are you interested in writing? Are you interested in cinema? Yes. You're most welcome. Just send us your phone number and I'll send it to one of our...
a lot of people would want to join after this episode. So can I put a link or something in the description?
Sure you can. Just connect, just send in your number. The only thing I ask for nothing except treat it as a class, an education, not as a podcast that you can turn it on like it's not a radio show. It's not. And you can turn it off when you want. It's not an Instagram live where you turn in and say, okay, I'm busy. You attend with your camera on and you sit decently, don't munch, don't sleep, don't lie down. You are in class. That's all I ask for. Respect for the platform, respect for what you're going to receive. Right? There's nothing more that is required to be a spiral bounder. Hindol will tell you.
Yeah, like
he's been caught napping many times in class.
And such a cool name. The students are called spiral bounders.
They're bounders.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's addictive. There are some people who just don't want to leave.
Yeah.
They've done 400 sessions.
Yeah. Hindol was telling me you never miss a class. Like you have always had the classes.
It's something you give back to the industry that's given me everything.
Beautiful. So let's talk about books, sir. Like I know you were telling me you are particularly into books which are about films. So which ones would you recommend?
So I would like to talk about biographies and autobiographies.
Lovely.
I think the one that comes to mind first is Akira Kurosawa's. Is just amazing. It's just that it's not this great filmmaker. It feels like he's telling you your story.
Yeah.
Of principles of childhood sounds, of sounds that you don't hear anymore.
Yeah.
How relatable is that? So Akira Kurosawa's autobiography. Then there is a really funny one about a nice little Jewish boy who grew up to be one of the most funny people in the business. It's all about me. It's one of Mel Brooks, one of the great, brave comic film directors and some great TV work. And one of the best comedies ever is called Young Frankenstein. It's a black and white film, and they've used the old Frankenstein sets, costumes, shot it in black and white. So his is really funny, and still there's so much of humanity in the way people tell their story. Anthony Hopkins, I think A Life in 3 Acts it's called.
Okay.
Which again, but Anthony Hopkins is, again, he speaks. There is a certain eliteness to the way he writes. There is a little bit of tell-all here and there, but you learn a lot about acting and the philosophy behind what you do. So I'm a great fan of Anthony Hopkins. We forgot to mention his name in the great actors. He did a great job in The Father. He did a great job in Two Popes. And he did a great job, of course, in Silence of the Lambs. But he was a very mediocre. He did an action movie as an action hero, and it just was terrible. He writes about this. He speaks about his drinking problem. So in that sense, yes, the humanity does come out.
He's also a painter, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so there's a lot to learn how he soon out Katharine Hepburn. I didn't like that part for being cocky with a very senior actor, but sometimes it's okay. And then My Adventures in the Screen Trade by William Goldman. And so while it is about screenwriting, there's a lot about the philosophy of life, failure, how to cope with failure, how to take an idea and develop it, his principles, his quotes here and there. And the second one is probably even better. It's called, I hope I get this, Which Lie Did I Tell? These are the ones I'd recommend strongly for people who are, and then there are books that are, some famous person does a book on Scorsese, for example, rather than Scorsese doing it. So someone on Scorsese, I forget that whole series that come on, which are wonderful.
3 screenplays that you would like to recommend?
Silence of the Lambs by Ted Talley, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid by William Goldman, and Aaron Sorkin's Social Network. Amazing, just amazing. See, novels are different.
Yeah.
Novels are different. You can write 5 pages about what the air smells like, and it's beautiful. I'm not mocking a novel, but a screenplay, since you have a limited amount of time to hold someone's attention in a cinema hall, economy is a very big player, and these are screenplays with no unwasted words. Birdman, how can I forget? Birdman, and I'll tell you why I recommend Birdman very strongly. Because there's no part of the screenplay in Birdman which you can edit on the edit table. जो है वो शूट करना ही पड़ेगा, वो कट नहीं कर सकते. ये सीन निकाल देते नहीं जम रहा है. It has to be in the movie because it's one stage, it's supposed to be one continuous shot. So Birdman definitely number one.
And one of my last segments is about music. Which are some of your favorite music albums of all time?
Sounds of Silence. Sounds of Silence is because it was a complete departure from film music. There were songs, background songs played in the background, and it gave birth to a great musical duo called Simon and Garfunkel. So Sounds of Silence is just amazing as an album. I think yeah, definitely it's difficult to pick out one Beatles album, right? So which one would we go for the Beatles album? Rubber Soul? Yeah. We're talking about general...
Yeah, you can also mention your favorite artists or singers, overall.
I think a Billy Joel album, I forget the name of the album, but I can tell you the songs that are on it.
Okay.
Which include The Entertainer, Piano Man, Moving Out. There are some wonderful songs on that. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. I just love that album very much. I don't know the name of it. And when I was young, I could listen back and forth over and over again was the Hotel California album. Yeah, tight band. But
what about like from India?
Oh, so I'm going to tell you a couple of film albums that are so fantastic. Mere Jeevan Sathi, I don't know if you're familiar with R.D.'s चला जाता हूँ किसी की धुन में. चला जाता हूँ किसी की धुन में. Amazing. Daag had some wonderful. Kabhi Kabhi was a great album all round. Khayyam Saab's. Pyasa is great. And believe me, there was the old, not the new Tere Mere Sapne, but the old Tere Mere Sapne with Devanand and Mumtaz, and it's S.T. Burman's Ae Maine Kasam Li, Jeevan Ki Bagiya. Amazing songs, amazing melody. S.D. Burman at his best. Kati Patang had some lovely music. Amar Prem had some lovely songs. And Aradhana. Every song is a map, is great. From the modern, I must say Mehuna had some lovely melodies.
Oh yes, it also completed 20 years.
Yeah, but it had some lovely melodies.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Shah Rukh used to pick up some lovely songs in his movies. Yes, Boss has some lovely melodies. Lovely melodies. And anything that Kishore Da did or Rafi Saab did, I'm all in. One of my favorite songs in a movie is Hai Mere Pyare Watan from Kabuliwala, Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas. Dev Saab used to come up with some great melodies. Prem Pujari has some beautiful songs. Dev Saab. I think great, even though there was, psychedelia in Dammaro Dam and all of that, is today say what Dammaro Dam. But lovely stuff in Hare Rama Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Dev Saab used to come up with some people just had a hang of picking up good melodies, You say your favorite.
I am not that much into lyrics, but I like, मेरे को धुन ऐसे सब चीज़ों की बहुत पसंद आती है. So I mention it a lot. जैसे रंग दे बसंती के opening credits में Everything about Rang De Basanti music.
Beautiful.
The remix, Masti Ki Pathshala, the original Masti Ki
Beautiful.
Pathshala.
Rahman sahab.
Yeah, everything.
See, talking about theme, no? Ye Dosti is a wonderful, everyone's favorite song. The rest of Sholay, the songs aren't, they're good songs. Mehbooba and then Aaj Agta Ke Jaan, okay. And then Dharmendra and Himali's song, which they sing on the cycle and the tanga. But the opening, da, 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 amazing theme music.
Yeah.
See, that is great theme music. Sucking into this sort of Western kind of genre. Beautiful. R.D. Saab was amazing. R.D. Saab's last film was great. 1942, A Love Story. You remember the songs? Yeah.
Another theme that I really like is from Munna Bhai. जब भी वो जादू की झप्पी आती थी,
तुम बहुत मस्त काम करते हैं मकसूद भाई.
वो बहुत पसंद है मेरे को. Yeah. Amazing, sir. I am so happy we could do this conversation. Is there anything that I might not have asked, or any recommendation, any other thing you'd like to say?
2 things you didn't ask, which is very good. What's your age? So thank you for not asking. And how much do you weigh? Thank you for not asking that. Baki ka sab kuch maza aaya. And what I can't see anyone's face because everyone's sitting in the dark, but everybody seems to be listening, which is a nice thing to have on a set when people are listening, otherwise you're talking, you're yapping. Is anybody interested at all? We are only the 2 guys.
No,
but they seem to be, yeah. Of course, Hindol has no choice but to listen.
Towards the end of the episode, we give a hashtag कि अगर आपने ये पूरी conversation देखी है, so comment में एक hashtag लिखे. So what hashtag should we give to the people? Any word, it can be any word.
One word.
Spiral bound.
Yeah, okay.
So guys, if you have watched the episode till here, use the hashtag spiral bound in the comments. Thank you so much, Boman sir. This was amazing. So guys, कैसा लगा episode comments में बताइए, and just like we discussed, use the hashtag spiralbound in the comments. The audio version of all these episodes will be out on Audible very soon. So कैसा लग रहा है guys आप लोगों को ये season? Do tell us in comments. बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं to get the best of guests for you guys. Your word means a lot to us. It keeps us going, and we are trying to make it a bigger and better season. I'll see you guys with another episode very soon.